VCard just changed their official rules. Coincidentally, a day after I made a video explaining how to play. You gotta be not mad at all. Not even a little bit. But now that the rules have been rewritten and cards now have more words on them, I have doom scrolled through the website and read the rules to now bring you a comprehensive video on how you can start using your cardboard treasures. By the way, VCard did put out their own video, but it's lightning fast, just a rehash of what's written on the website, and there's not even a voiceover explaining the mechanics. Like, come on, gamer subs, I'm right here. You could have hired me, but it's obvious I have to step in and do your job for you. So don't worry, Daddy is gonna get the milk and introduce all of you to the world of VCard. And yes, I'm using the same transitions. The budget didn't allow for new ones. Now luckily, most aspects of the cards haven't changed much, so let's start here. These are the new Power Level 8 cards. They look the same as the old ones, except the unique ability printed on the card. Every card and type now have different and more unique abilities, making more playstyles viable. At the top is the level of the card, and to the left of that is the element of the card. At the bottom are the elements your card is strong and weak against. There are 5 elements that a card could be: fire, water, grass, electric, and platinum. PL8 cards are the base of this game and will always be needed to play out your turn. Here is a new mechanic added: the card effect. Each card will come with a new indicator on what kind of ability this is. Currently, all cards have one of 4 of these abilities: either snap, lock, passive, or echo. There are actually way more things to talk about regarding abilities, but let's cover some of those later and get through the rest of these cards. Your PL8 cards can evolve into a PL9 card. PL9 cards are stronger with the number 9 indication at the top, but they lack any ability and are instead replaced with text describing the VTuber on the card. They can only be played when the same VTuber's PL8 card is already on your board, but PL9 isn't even its final form. As we have the pinnacle of strength, the PL10 card. These are the cards everyone on Reddit is crying and whining about, with unique full artwork and new descriptions for their VTubers. That is the highest of PL cards we have currently in the game. So let's move on to who will be helping our VTubers engage in combat. This here is Goro. He is one of the many mascot cards in the game and is very helpful to Neanners. Mascot cards also have a card effect and unique abilities on top of simply adding additional power to the VTubers currently on your board. Lastly, we have the support cards, which now have one of 3 classifications: boost, ally, and reinforcement. Some more effects we'll get into later. And that's currently all the type of cards we have in VCard. So let's power on into playing the game. Now that you have decided to spend your life savings on VCard, let's get into how to actually play. First, we start with deck building. A deck has to consist of exactly 50 cards and must have at least one PL8 card, though you'd probably be insane to not have more. You can have up to 2 different elements present in a single deck. You can only have 3 copies of any single support, PL8, PL9, and PL10 card, with any single mascot card being limited to 2. So once you've come up with the perfect configuration and card combinations, you are now ready to begin. Welcome to the VCard playing area within Tabletop Simulator. I figured this would be the best way to show off how interacting and playing the cards would look. Here's the play area provided by VCard themselves. Over to the right is where you'll put your deck, and the discard pile for any cards used during this game. This big spot in the middle is the active slot, where your active PL and support cards will be placed when played. To the left is the mascot slot. Only one mascot can be active on your side at a time. Then down here is the backstage area. This is where you will put your inactive PL cards, up to 4. They got rid of that useless prize pool area, and overall made the play area look more approachable. Now that you're familiar with that, let's give our deck a shuffle and start to begin playing. Across from me is my good friend JJ. You may know her from singing the intro in all my shorts. She won't be talking though, she's still a bit shy. To begin the game, you start by drawing 7 cards into your hand. In this opening hand, you must have at least one PL8 card. If you do not draw a single PL8 card in the opening hand, you must show your hand to your opponent, shuffle them back into your deck, then redraw 7 cards. You keep repeating this process until you have at least one PL8 card in your hand. Now that you have it, you're ready to begin. Place down a PL8 card face down in the active area, and up to 4 PL8 cards face down in the backstage area. Then we begin turn 1. Both players flip all their cards and apply any snap effects. A snap effect card will have the word snap in the bottom left of the artwork, and means that when the card is played, the effect is triggered. Let's take our Froggy Lock for example. Her snap effect says, submerge an opponent's VT. Now you might be asking, what the fuck does submerge mean? And no, you don't dunk their prized possession Cinder into their Stanley Cup. Submerge is one of the many in a subset of unique effects that certain elements do. There are currently 16, so I'm not going to overload your brain with all of them right now, but here they all are if you'd like to pause and read them for yourself. For our demonstration, let's check out Submerge. It is a water element effect and inflicts a status. Think of like paralyzation or confusion in Pokemon. The effect reads, prevents new ally cards from attaching to this VT. And since we aren't that great at remembering, we're going to put a little indicator on these cards to symbolize when it is submerged. I don't know if VCard will ever provide physical indicators for this, but if they do, they'll probably charge about $7.99 plus tax. After all the snap effects have been triggered, you're all set to continue. VCard does not provide a method of how to determine who goes first, so we're gonna measure our flip a coin. For legal reasons, we're gonna flip a coin, and once it's decided, player 1 will take their turn. First, draw 1 card, and from here, you have many actions you can take. You see in our hand, we have a mascot card, so let's go ahead and play that. Our mascot here is Pestanini, and gives +1 PL to our active water element VT. But since it's Bow, Pestanini gives us an additional +1 PL. Every mascot has a specific VTuber that it gives a bonus to, so be sure to build around this benefit. You'll see that on Bow, her effect is a lock effect. This effect takes place during your turn and can be activated at any time during any of your turns this round. What you do is turn the card sideways and read off its effect. Here's another water effect called Undertow. Undertow allows you to select any card on your opponent's play area and lock it. By locking it, you turn it sideways and ignore any effect the card may have. Any locked cards stay locked until the next combat phase, which we'll get into in a minute. Our mascot also has a lock ability too, so let's go ahead and activate it. Doing so allows us to check out another water effect called Tide. There are 2 effects on this card, and which one you apply depends on what turn you're on. The low tide activates if you're in the first 3 turns before combat. High tide activates if you are in the last 3 turns before combat. There are 6 turns total before a combat round, and in our play, we are in the first turn, so the low tide activates, giving +1 PL to our active VT, making Bow now at 11 after all of our effects. Why don't we try playing a support card now? This support card is an ally. Ally cards attach to the VT of your choice and can be active or backstage. Let's attach him to Bow and use his ability. Battle Cry has a requirement to activate, being that the attached VT has to have a PL of 11 or higher. Luckily, with the previous effects, Bow is right at our needed PL. So we activate the effect, draw 1 card, and lock the ally. We could do more this turn, but let's pass to our opponent and see how they respond. They draw their card, and play a mascot to start off. Due to us submerging their Cinder earlier, they are not able to add any ally cards to her. And since we undertowed Fifi, she now can't use her lock ability until after the next combat phase. With little to be able to actually do, they pass back to us. We now start our second turn with a draw. And why don't we go ahead and play another support card? This time, we will go with Water Guardian. Water Guardian is a boost card, meaning when you play it, you activate its effect, then immediately put it into your discard pile. Its ability allows us to search for a Water VT evolution for one of our backstagers. This is a very powerful effect as we look through our deck and pick the specific card that we want to add to our hand. You show the card we selected to our opponent, and then we reshuffle our deck. Now let's do some trickery here. We're gonna play Foxy Rain in our backstage and activate her snap effect, returning a VT we control back to our hand. Now you might initially think this is bad, as we are removing a card from our side from play. But if we can combo it correctly, the payout can be big. Here, I return Froggy Lock back to my hand, and then immediately play her again. This now allows me to take advantage of Froggy's snap ability again, submerging an opponent's VT. Also, since we just searched for it, let's evolve our Foxy into her PL9 card. Evolving to a PL9 card also allows us to draw an additional card. You can evolve every VT one time per turn, and yes, they can evolve the same turn they are played, like with our Foxy. So while we're at it, let's evolve our Bow into a PL9, allowing us to once again draw another card. We can also apply ally cards to our backstagers, getting them stronger for future use. Now we pass back to our opponent. Let's say on their turn, they play the support card, Work-Life Balance, which allows them to discard one card to remove a status effect on one of their VTs. Now, we don't want that to happen. Luckily, we have a Reinforcement in our hand. Reinforcements can be played in reaction to your opponent's played cards. In this case, the Reaper cancels out your opponent's support card and discards it, allowing us to continue our oppression on the Cinder. This kind of cycle goes on until both players have completed 6 turns. After that, we enter into the combat phase. In the combat phase, we compare the current power level of each player's active VT. Luckily, we are a water type and have an advantage over Cinder, who is a fire type. Having a type advantage grants you +1 to your PL. Since our Bow is way stronger than their Cinder, we win the combat, claiming 1 point. The first player to reach 3 points wins. After the combat, we discard our active VTs and all cards attached to them. Then, we move 1 VT from our backstage to our active slot. Now all the cards that were locked becomes unlocked. If either player has more than 7 cards in their hand, they discard down to 7. We also have a card effect on our side that gets triggered. Mega has a passive ability, which means it activates anytime the requirements stated are met. Hers state that if she is in your backstage when you win combat, your opponent must discard a support card from their hand, as long as they have one. Now before we begin doing our turn order again, our opponent's mascot here has an echo effect, which also triggers directly after combat. This little rascal's ability allows to subtract 1 PL from a backstage VT. Then the player who won the combat now goes, and repeat the 6-turn cycle again, until one player has 3 points. Congratulations, you have just finished your first game of VCard. That wasn't so hard. And now armed with all of that information, you're ready to adventure off and take on the greatest VCarders around. Tell me how you liked the video. And if you're interested in getting into and potentially playing the game with friends, there are even more mechanics that we didn't fully get into with this video, as that would be a bit too much to cram in. If you're interested in more videos going over rules, abilities, and playstyles with VCard, leave a comment below. Drop a like on the video, and be sure to subscribe for all future content. It was nice having you here, and have a wonderful day.